folks. We've got a lot of birthdays again today, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to the Sin City Social Club for Tuesday, April 20th. I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to Sid.
Hi guys, hello. So a big flurry of activity in my world at the moment because I'm getting on a plane on Sunday to go to Los Angeles and then go to Australia and Melbourne. I think I'm going to Sydney first for 2 weeks. I've got all sorts of visa issues I've been dealing with and all sorts of stuff like that. But I still don't quite believe it's happening because it just seems so far away and distant. But it'll become, I guess, in the next few days, it'll become a thing. So I'm going away for so many months. I'm going away for the rest of the year. And in order to try and be a relatively good husband for 5 minutes, I went to New York. So we packed our whole year's vacation into 24 hours because we left yesterday. But we did have a wonderful dinner. We picked one of the beauties of COVID, apart from some of the very few elements where families get closer and relationships get more exciting and interesting and deeper, is that Michelin star restaurants are empty. And we went to 2-star Michelin star restaurant, and they had a patio. So we sat 20 feet away from anybody, and we were lavished with attention. But it was really lovely, and we just said, like, whatever happens, we're just going to spend everything we have right now. As we got the ham and the caviar to start, and then I got the sturgeon, and I think it was a leek terrine, and we had a lovely time. Anyway, that's enough about me. Let's talk some of you, because that's much more interesting. I know I will be told if I'm forgetting birthdays, but there was a couple of weeks ago I completely forgot everybody's birthday. Well, at least the birthday shout out. So everybody get their lungs in order for birthday shout outs, because there's going to be a few of them. We're rolling them out. We
are indeed. Rose's birthday was Sunday, I think.
Oh my goodness.
Hey,
Rose.
my mom uses that same phrase you do. She talks about the ass crack of dawn when she has to get up really early. And I think you're the only other person I've heard use that phrase.
I call it the crack of ass, exactly. Because it used to be my least favorite time of the day. How are you, Rose?
I'm good. It's a bit weird to celebrate a second birthday in quarantine because I remember.
Yeah, it is, of course. You were one of the first birthdays in quarantine that we had. Well, listen, that doesn't mean you get away with not having your birthday shouted out to you from everywhere. Rose, happy birthday. And everyone else, you know the drill.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Rose.
birthday, Rose.
Happy
birthday, Rose.
I love the random way Zoom picks up some people's faces. And it can be after they've said happy birthday, so they're already doing something else. It's really hilarious.
I got to hear somebody say it in Japanese after I've done that for so many other people in the past. So that was nice. Yeah, my birthday last year was my 30th birthday. And I was like, I had all these plans and then this happened. And so I remember thinking at the time, well, I'll just get a rain check for my 31st, but.
No. And your 30th is the first one you're supposed to be able to remember, you know? Your 20th, no one remembers their 20th because they're sort of under something, having drunk a yard of ale, and they have no idea what's going on. But 30th, you're sort of, you know, considered adult, grown up, remembering these things. Not so many neurons destroyed. How are you? I know you've been such an amazing contributor to this group, and I can't thank you enough for that. You've been just wonderful. All the things that you come up with, and the advice, terrific energy that you bring. How are you? How's Tricks?
I've been teaching a class this past spring at my university, but remotely because my university is in Austin, Texas, and I'm still in Baltimore, on music history. I just cover I'm the instructor, so it's like the class for freshmen because they don't give grad students instructor stuff, even doctoral students, unless it's like for the lowest level college students.
Yeah, so you're not doing one of your favorite things, which is the history of anime soundtracks.
Yeah, although I love this stuff too, because like I love classical music, and I get to share my enthusiasm for opera and all the other stuff I like with them. So I've been really enjoying it, but we cover like 900 years of music history in one semester, so it's a lot.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. There's a relativism here that I'm beginning to explore. And music is a very universal language, but it's a language, formal.
Mhm.
You have to learn it. It has vowels and consonants in the same way. At least there's you stretch them. They're not quite consonants or vowels, but it certainly has diphthongs and all sorts of other things that language has. The basis of it. There's something sonorous about languages, even the the what I would consider fairly ugly ones, because I grew up hating Arabic. I hated it, but now I listen to it. I'm like, oh, that's gorgeous. And German, I hated, and then obviously I could only listen to sung German. I thought German was the most beautiful thing sung because of my obsession, a weird obsession with Wagner and Mahler when I was a kid. There's something here that there's some deeper connectivity between language and what we do and how we speak and how we respond to each other, and music.
Mhm.
We'll work on that. I have no idea what that connectivity is yet.
Although
but I'm sure
speaking of
something's really funny.
music as a language, I'm in the 20th century in the class right now, and it's been kind of interesting to introduce them to like Schoenberg and stuff like that.
Oh well, yeah. Is it what 12 tone?
Yeah,
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 absolutely horrifying, but fascinating.
yeah. It's like music that I admire more than I actually enjoy listening to.
Me too, and I admire it from a purely snobbish point of view because I want to be seen to admire it. I don't actually care for it at all. People out there who aren't really familiar with classical music is to put on a concerto, like Beethoven piano concerto or a Tchaikovsky violin concerto, and think of it as a theater and not think of it visually as much as as if possible, and you'll hear these many dialogues between the piano and the rest of the orchestra, or the violin and the rest of the orchestra, kind of flirtatiousness or a symbiosis, trying to teach, like the piano tries to teach the rest of the orchestra a tune, and eventually they learn it, and it's enormous. But if you think of it as a short play, a 25-minute play, a 20-minute film, it's quite a nice way in for young people who haven't got, because rock doesn't do that, folk
Yeah.
music doesn't do that, but classical music really does own that space in a way that almost no other form of music does. Is that the dialogue within classical music is always phenomenal.
Sometimes jazz can do that too. I just finished teaching them about jazz.
Jazz can do that, absolutely right. Of course, there was something I forgot.
Yeah, played them John Coltrane, A Love Supreme. They said it sounded like coffee shop background music.
Well, yeah.
Which I guess that is how it gets used now.
Yeah,
But it was
music
like,
came before the elevator, guys. Yeah, we'll have to. We're going to bore the hell out of everybody because we're like going off on something that we completely get. But it's absolutely true. I'm kind of interested though. I think when what I realize it's not original of me to say that music is a dialogue and that it's very good at expressing, and because there was that wonderful was it Peter and the Wolf? I mean, the picture's an exhibition.
it's Mussorgsky.
It's Mussorgsky and
Orchestrated by Ravel.
Oh, that's right. And he did all these amazing things. And then there was a Peter and the Wolf one, which was also Mussorgsky, wasn't it?
And that's Prokofiev.
That's Prokofiev. That's a really good way of kids getting involved in all this, although it's probably a bit too low level for 18-year-old.
I am trying to get my 2-year-old nephew into it because I apparently have successfully gotten him into music through like buying him those like kids books where they have like the button menu on the side.
That's great. How is your life? How's your mom?
My mom and stepdad are pretty great.
Good.
They're both fully vaccinated. I'm still waiting for shot number 2. So she's been teaching remotely, but she's actually going back to school next week to teach in person, which will be interesting. She's doing this thing that we designed last year during quarantine, where she teaches about World War II through teaching them how to study movies about it. And we do a really international grouping of movies, because we try to do not just like American and British movies, but also like Japanese and German and Italian and Russian movies and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. And so, but it was designed for us to do in quarantine. So it'll be interesting to see how to adapt it for teaching live.
Absolutely. I hope you have the Klimov movie, Come and See, on that list. The Russian.
I think we thought about it, but it was too violent for them, but we did really like it.
Okay, yeah, it is very violent because it's quite real. I felt it was one of the most authentic portrayals of war I've ever seen. And I don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the Kubrick, Full Metal Jacket and Platoon. I kind of liked, but that was wow. I just like being shown stuff I hadn't seen before, because normally, war movies are pretty trite, and everybody ducks for cover, and it's not possible that this happens, and it all happens at the same time, which everybody forgets that war didn't happen. It was not always Passchendaele or the Somme,
Yeah.
It's lots of hours of playing cards, waiting for something to happen.
I did start to get my mom into anime through this, because we watched a few anime films about World War II, but now she gets it, and now she keeps buying me, like, every birthday, Christmas, I get something related to the like 3 movies of anime that I've watched with her.
That's really cool. That's really great. That's a tradition that will never stop. I'm fascinated by seeing the war through adversarial eyes, because I've obviously been brought up and inculcated with the whole Western sort of bibliography, the whole, this is how we won it, which is kind of, especially as one of my countries was colonized by another of my countries. So I'm like, whoa, where do I sit here?
Yeah, so if you're interested in some good Japanese movies about World War II, 2 of the anime ones that we really liked. One, people are already telling me in the chat not to recommend, because it's very sad, but it's such a good movie. It's called
I don't mind sad.
So this movie is called Grave of the Fireflies. And then the other one called In This Corner of the World.
Look at what I'm writing in. That's my little notebook.
I have one of those too.
Listen, I've gone over time, but I'm just always excited to talk to you. So
yeah, I'm always excited to talk to you, especially because, as you said, not many people like Wagner.
I know.
It's always exciting to talk to someone else who does.
Because, yes. Thank you, Rose. Let's talk again soon.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rose. All right. Our next birthday person is Maddie, whose birthday is today.
Oh my goodness. Weird. Today?
Hey.
Maddie. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
It's great to catch someone on their birthday. It's also great to catch someone after it. But can we all say happy birthday to Maddie?
Happy
Happy
birthday.
Happy birthday, Maddie.
Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday.
Everyone.
It's great. Shannon, it must be cold in Australia. Yes, you are so busted. How are you, Maddie?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm really excited that this landed on my birthday.
That's so fantastic. That is great.
I talked to you once before, and I talked about, I work at an art program for people with developmental disabilities.
Yes, I remember we talked about that. At the time, it was very difficult because everybody was excluded, and you were trying to find ways to get people back stop them running away, stop them disappearing. How have you done?
We've got most of our artists coming to Zoom classes, and hopefully we're going to start doing in-person stuff again in the next few months. So
yeah, that's really cool, because a lot of the disabilities is a vulnerability in this particular moment. I don't think that's really been talked about very much. I mean, we talk a lot about people getting the injections, which is kind of essential, and we talk a lot about everybody feeling relief, and older people particularly. But what's the marriage between disability and the vaccine? Because are you aware? Has that come across your radar, onto your desk? You had to discuss that?
Yeah, I mean, in California, we really lobbied the governor and got, like folks with disabilities and especially people who live in group homes and assisted living situations to be on the list before their folks. And so a lot of people in our program are vaccinated, and people are, trying to do it, and like it's been pretty good. I think most of the artists are vaccinated at this point, which is
Wow. You must unearth all sorts of people with talents that they obviously, they may know, they may not, I don't know, but where do you go, how do you work at that? How do you encourage that?
Folks who come to Creative Growth, which is the place that I work, like there are somewhat self-selecting. So there are people who are interested in art. And then, it's just a process of trial and error of being like, what are you interested in? Try this.
Yeah.
Oh, you did really well with this thing. Why don't you try this other thing? And it takes a lot of just like playing around like any artist, to find your chosen medium. We had an artist who passed away before I started, Judith Scott, who's probably our most famous artist. She just like did like little drawings that, and like stole magazines and stuff from around the studio for like 2 years. And then she started making these amazing assemblage sculptures where she would just find things around the studio and entomb them in yarn and string and like whatever kind of material she could find. And now those are like, they're in museums all over the world, and it's really amazing. But it took her 2 years to figure out what it was that she wanted to really do. But then once she did it, she
jumped in, and she just happened to have this sensibility that appeals to everybody on some level, and that makes you a famous artist. It's because there's no rhyme or reason, is there? That's why no one can say they can't draw. That's why it's really important to sing and draw and do all those things, even if you'd have no confidence, because you will build it. Just don't do it in public right away. You'll be fine.
Speaking of singing in public, I was wondering if there's enough time, if I could possibly play Ziggy Stardust for you on my ukulele. If we don't have time, that's totally.
Are you kidding? We've got way more time than we haven't got enough time. We've got plenty of time. Absolutely, I'd love that. Could switch the volume up.
So one of the things I do at my job when we're in person is I like take requests on my ukulele all day, and if I can karaoke it, I can probably fumble through it if I'm looking at the chords. So I like playing songs for folks. Ziggy played guitar, jamming good, weird and gilly, and the spiders from Mars. He played it left hand, but made it too far. Became the special man, and we were Ziggy's band.
wonderful. That
Thank
is so cool. I'm so glad you found the courage to do that. That was gorgeous. It was great. One of my favorite songs. I named Django Ziggy. His middle name is Ziggy because I just fell in love with Ziggy. I don't know what he actually looks like or anything like that, but everything he said about Bowie said about him just created a character that I just found so sexy and attractive. And I just thought, wow, that's cool. Django's going to be called Ziggy. That's really great. Thank you for sharing that with us. That was really fantastic. God, you guys are so lucky to have you. What sort of song, when they ask, can you do that? You just go, bing, I light up. Yeah, I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
Anything by Bowie, and like
Yeah.
I love. Nobody ever asks me, but I love playing Elvis Costello songs on my uke too.
Oh God, yeah, it's so beautiful. Elvis Costello is so beautiful.
But
Oh,
anything that gets everybody singing, like one of my like favorite times was I did What's Going On by Four Non Blondes, and like the whole studio joined in by the time we're like, hey, yeah, 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 yeah.
Hey, yeah, yeah. What's going on? It's a great song. I love that.
Yeah, anything that gets people involved, I think that's my favorite.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you. It's lovely to have you come and sing. You can come and sing all the time if you want to.
Awesome.
We love that. You can join up with the Jacob and Michael, and we can play like a 3-guitar thing and their dad.
Thank you so much, Sid.
Thanks, Maddie.
Thanks, Maddie. We had several requests for Freebird, just so you know.
We
The
did.
next time-
Oh, well, then maybe we don't have enough time for, what is it, 13 minutes?
Anyway, here's Wonderwall. All right, our next birthday person. Where did she go? Portia.
Hi.
There you go.
Hello, Portia.
Hello.
Hi. Happy birthday. I'm going to ask you all kinds of questions, but everyone needs to. When was your birthday?
My birthday is actually Friday, but I can never get in on Fridays.
Oh my goodness. Well, you get a pre-happy birthday for Friday, and hopefully you do get in on Friday, and maybe you can have another one. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy birthday, Portia.
So, how are you doing? Because Michigan's kind of climbing up the COVID charts quite hysterically right now.
Yeah.
Is that a sort of subject, a sore subject, or is it like, well, what can we do?
I work in a
Pick.
restaurant, and everyone's kind of like pretty much over it, and it's kind of like, no, please take it seriously.
Please,
but,
please stay on it.
But
Please stay under it, yeah.
so
And what are you singing for us tonight?
I did not volunteer
I'm
any
joking.
singing.
I'm totally joking. It's going to scare the living daylights out of you. What are your passions? What do you love doing?
I have been writing more recently, which is nice. I actually, I will not be sharing that. Sorry.
No, you're not.
But
it's not important.
I did do a painting. It's a pun from one of the post quiz chats. You know, eggplants.
Yep.
They're not called eggplants in the UK. You guys call them aubergines.
Aubergine.
And so I painted an eggplant.
Oh, you could show us. That's great, Portia. I love the colors, by the way.
Thank you.
That is gorgeous. That is really gorgeous. Oh, you're a painter and a writer. I know, but you heard me, my little diatribe about no, everybody can paint, everybody can write. It's like we are already self-censoring ourselves because of what we think other people might think about us. That's a terrible way to live, you know. It's a terrible way to live. You decide your parameters and they will come to you. That's how that works. Do you have a favorite type of artist? Do you have a favorite kind of art? Are you attracted to art? Are you drawn to it? Do do you look online? If I'm not assuming you go to art galleries.
I mean, I've been to a few museums. I don't, I enjoy visual art, but I don't really seek it out, I guess. I listen to a lot of music. Alanis Morissette was my first professional concert.
Oh,
Yes.
you got to see her live.
Yes, it was my uncle's coworker won them on the radio, but they already had a trip planned, so he gave them to my mom and she took me.
Wow.
So
You lucky human being. That is amazing. And did she sing some of her old greats, her classics?
yes.
Lovely to get to see in a small venue because that's really intimate. It makes I'm much better than going to a rock venue, a stadium. I want to get back to your art because you're pretty good at it. You've just got a really good sense of color and where to plonk stuff on the page. Do some more of that. Really cool. You went, right, I'm going to draw this. What have you got a question for me? Because I sometimes just hear myself from time to time and I realize I'm just doing all the talking.
I did, I know you've been busy, but I was wondering if to follow up on Rose and anime, did you get around to seeing any of Satoshi Kon's work?
No, not at all. I've been running from pillar to post, and today was the last day of judging the Oscars, and I had no idea how involved it was. I will get to it. I'm going to write it down to remind myself. I'm hoping, I have nothing else to do in Australia but work. So I think I'll have time to catch up with important things like that when I get there. And then we can talk about it. Then I'll have something to say. I'm going to say, I kind of promise. I don't know. You might have to remind me again. Just at the beginning of when we next meet, just go, when I'm saying hello, it's like, Shikoshi. Is that right? Have I said that right? Shikoshi?
Satoshi.
See, I've even written it wrong. Brilliant. On it, Portia.
I don't know where you're going to be, but speaking of art and Australia, the painting's called Chloe. It's in a Melbourne bar. It's a French artist. I did a report on him.
Yeah.
Jules Joseph Lefebvre, which I'm again probably saying that wrong.
Brilliant. Lefebvre. That's a great. I'll get on it. I happen to be going to Melbourne, so that's boom. So it's a totally doable thing. We can actually do that. So hopefully I'll take a selfie, find it, bring it on here. I don't know which bar it is. I might have to visit like 50 bars.
I know it's a 2-story bar, if that helps narrow things down.
I don't know even if I'm allowed in bars. I'm not quite sure what the regulations are for me, but I will definitely go for it and try and find it. If 2 stories is all the clue I can get, that's what I'll take.
Casey found it again. It's the Young and Jackson in Melbourne. It's a hotel
Young
bar.
And Jackson. I will think of that as a project. Brilliant. All right, Portia.
Anyway, but yeah, thank you and thank Mel and everyone in the club for doing this, since I probably won't get to talk before we do kind of a little hiatus before our
we'll struggle on. We'll hobble on through, we'll keep going in some form or fashion.
Thanks, Portia.
Thanks, Portia.
You. Stay safe.
Thanks, Casey, for saving Sid's liver instead of him having to go to 50 bars.
50
I
bars.
know you were willing to do it. You were willing to sacrifice.
Oh yeah, you know me.
But, all right, we've got another birthday to celebrate. Mars is here. This is her first time chatting.
Mars, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. And hello to Mel and hello to chat. I'm going to miss chat while I'm talking.
Yes, you will, because it's hard to see it. Well, no, you can watch chat. You can do whatever you like. This is all by your rules. So you can look at chat and talk to me and, we'll muddle our way through. Where are you, Mars?
I'm in Texas. You might know us. We have this little thing called the Alamo here. And
yes.
I don't know if you know it, but
I know it. Absolutely. Is that just outside San Antonio?
Something, I don't know. I forgot. Can't remember.
Brilliant. Well, I want to wish you a happy birthday. Let
Thank
me
you.
be the first. Happy birthday, Mars. Welcome
Thank
to this
you.
club. And I would love to invite other people to say happy birthday to you too.
Happy birthday.
Happy
Birthday.
Well, that was lovely.
What are you up to? What's going on in your world?
So at my job, I am sort of this bridge between HR and IT, but the company I work for recognizes a huge shortage of data scientists. So they've taken a chunk of us and dropped us into this data science boot camp. So it's just this 8-week intensive boot camp of
Wow.
learning Python and data science theory, and it's just
Oh my
nonstop.
goodness.
But
What is Python?
it's a programming language, and it's a fairly friendly one. It's a lot of English in it, so so much language. Programming languages
Right.
are just obscure, and but a lot of English in it, so it's okay. It's just
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
lot, especially at my age. I'm no spring chicken, and
Oh
learning
yes,
things
you
at
must
this
be what?
age.
All of 60? No, let me guess.
No, it's
Your
more
age.
than I want. A lot different than learning in college. So you young kids, I do this. I'm like a fandom mom now, and on Twitter, I'm like, you young kids. In my day, internet came through the mail. But
you're not, this is a new territory for you. This is an intensive, like, you're now a data scientist where that was not your intention a few months ago.
correct. Yeah. I'm just sort of in this weird purgatory at my job
And how
where
did
they
that
don't
change
quite
your
agree
life?
with me.
Do they appreciate you more? Do they pay you more? What happens? Do they just
Uh,
go,
They won't pay me more, but I don't know. So it's very experimental. They've done this at tech companies, but I work for an apparel company. Um, and so they've never done this like in the retail apparel space. So it's just day to day almost. It changes as to how well is the class doing, and
wow.
what are we going to do when we get out. So some people will move to the artificial intelligence team. I'll actually go back to my job and probably handle people data analytics. So
Okay,
exciting as
my
that
mind
is.
is being slowly fried here. So you're going to have to talk me through this very slowly. You and your colleagues have all been told to do this particular skill, to get jiggy with this particular skill set, which is data analysis.
Data science, which is a
Data sci-
amalgam of data analysis and business analysts, and it's just this weird. It's the sexiest job of the 21st century.
Okay.
But yeah.
So can you do what you're doing from home?
Yes, I was very fortunate. I work from home. I was working from home before the pandemic hit. So they're in San Francisco. I'm in Texas. So it was,
So Levi Strauss isn't a Texas company.
nope, they are a San Francisco company. Levi Strauss himself, lived in San Francisco, and he's a San Francisco, icon, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
We still donate to the same orphanage that Levi Strauss himself donated to.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was fortunate.
You were.
If I ever get another job at another company, I'll make sure it's not here in Dallas. I can't go back to an office. I have cats and, a kitchen, and why would you want to go to an office? My housemate does the same job I do with people
Right.
data analytics, and works like bedroom next door from home. So I have a coworker.
And what's a thorny data scientific problem that might come across? Because give people an understanding of what on earth it is you do.
So for instance, we are definitely interested in if employees are a flight risk. So we need to analyze the data to determine a combination of how long have you been here, how well are you paid, what's your performance, what's your potential. All of that together could equal a flight risk. And we can layer that on top of how much of a rock star are you? So how much do we really need to focus on making sure you don't leave?
That's really interesting. Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
I just kind of fell into HR. It was never a passion. I needed a job and took it, and they saw I had a tech mind. And
Conceivably, you yourself could become a target of your own, like, data
oh
analytics.
yeah, no,
That they might not want you to leave, and you'll notice suddenly, like, a chocolate under your pillow one day. Like, what is this? Hey, wait a minute. You
yeah,
guys gave me a chocolate. You know me.
I was a job hopper before I got here. I was hopping job to job, um, and just I'm settled now. But
Yeah.
they focus on my team, and the talent for my team is it's really hard to find.
Yeah.
So I'm again super lucky. Like I came from dirt poor. We made no money growing up, lights off, literal dirt
Wow.
floors. So to be in a position I am now, I bought my
That
mom
is
a car for her
fantastic,
birthday,
Mars.
and um,
So
so
tell us a
it's
bit about your
yeah.
family growing up. Tell us
Um,
about that.
2 hours away here in Texas, living on land, 40 acres. Now my accent's coming out, but all together as one.
I love
Worked
the
for
fact
this.
that you're so grateful for this. I mean, this is
Hell
just
yeah.
terrific. It's a really nice trait in you. Do you spend much time with your family? Is that a happening thing?
So I live with my sister. So there's three of us in this house. My sister is next door. My
Lovely.
mom will come visit from time to time, but the cousins and stuff, I don't see very often.
What's your plan for when COVID ends? I mean, are you envisioning your future with this particular company, Mr.
Yeah.
Strauss?
Yeah, as long as they are still, as long as I'm still enjoying it, I have no qualms against hopping companies. Um, so as long as I'm enjoying it, I'll keep doing it. And
And what?
yeah.
Because do you spend most of the day standing up, working from?
You. So I get a little antsy. I tried. It was
Yes, I
far
can
too much
tell.
sitting.
I can tell you're standing up. It's like
Yeah.
maybe you have this enormous amount of energy.
No, not really. It's weird because so we had this big ice storm in Texas. I know you know from like Jackie. And
Yes, absolutely.
it's like after that ended, and that was perilous, literally the closest I've come to my life being in danger.
Yeah.
They warned us before it hit, the cold makes you stupid. And I didn't realize till after how true that was. My brain didn't work so much. I didn't think, put on socks
Yeah.
when you're cold, but your brain is so cold. But something
Yeah.
about that, like once it was over, like I've not been able to like slow down since. I don't know if it's just this like
Wow.
burst
Well,
of
it doesn't
life.
make you permanent. I don't think it makes you permanently stupid.
No, but just like after it ended, I was so grateful to survive, which sounds so stupid. I live in a
No, it's not
house
at
with
all.
modern
Mars,
conveniences,
it's a
but
perfectly logical reaction. Are you
it
kidding?
was frightening.
Yes, that's what terror will
Yeah.
actually make you react differently to how you would when you're just sitting on a hammock on a beach drinking a pina colada.
Yeah, it was not good. So ever since then, like once we got through that and we felt safe and everything was fine, then I've had a lot of energy since then, and I don't know what that is, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I bet you're energetic all the time. Well, I can attest the fact that you lose potency when you are cold. I was working a few weeks ago in Estonia, cold part of the world. I had a scene where I had about 4 pages of dialogue to deliver, and that's actually quite a lot. It's normally manageable for me. I just busk my way through it. I can just about grasp onto the next line and find the next paragraph and just hang on for dear life until the next word comes to me, and I bumble my way through the scene until I get to the end and I'm like, remember it all. But in the cold, I just couldn't remember the next thing. And I just was like, oh my goodness, I've blown up. I have no idea what the next line is. I digress. Much more important. Data science.
Whatever.
No, really. I'm really curious about how, because you just talked about a really classic American story, really, of coming up through this sort of Texan wild urchin existence with archetypal parents, for want of a better way of putting it, and busting out with your brave sister, like, a Disney movie, and ending up here where you are now and being really happy. I think that's just such a great story. So I'm curious to fill in all the gaps, and I now begin to see those gaps, which is kind of interesting. So you've done a brave thing. You've done a kind of really kind of amazing thing in your family, and you and your sister, I have to say.
I'm not sure
and
they
your
see it
si-
as brave. They see it as sort of snotty. There's a word there I'm looking for, but
yes, I know. We've got
highfalutin.
kids. I've forgotten and sworn a couple of times as well. Well, what does your sister do? Do you mind me asking?
She's a healthcare worker. She works in a hospital down the street, and she's working way too many hours right now. You can imagine.
Yes,
But
I can.
yeah, she's just smart as a whip as well.
How do
So
you protect her? Because she's just going out there, and what do you do to protect her?
worry. That's all
Yeah,
I can
yeah,
do. I try to make her life easier. Um, Healthcare workers strangely don't make a lot of money. So I just try to do everything I can to make sure she's never stressed about that. And just where I try to drive her to work after 14, like the morning after 14-hour shifts,
yeah,
and just like, I don't need you driving, sleepy.
yeah.
So
Of course, that's actually
yeah,
really, really smart. That sleepy driving is really bad idea. Even if it's 10 minutes, it's not good.
yeah.
Oh well, that's you. I just love the sound of you guys. You just sound like you've just done a really interesting trajectory in your life. You've busted out. You've done some cool stuff.
It's been weird.
Uh,
I've been very, very lucky though. It's just luck and the right people. And I think people around me work so much harder than me and don't get anywhere. And I don't know how it happened.
well, whatever it is, you work so hard that you can't even sit down at the end of the day.
Next time I'm talking to you, I'm sitting. Like, this thing goes down.
It's brilliant. What did you choose the name Mars?
It was a typo. So my legal name I don't like, but it's named after an aunt. It's Margaret. And so it's M-A-R and then a G, which if you incorrectly write that, it looks like an S. And so
Yeah.
somebody at a job once saw it, thought that's what it was. I had all this space stuff on my cube wall, and they just never let it go. They just started calling me that, and everybody else called me that, to the point that people didn't realize that wasn't my name. So
It is a fantastic name.
I just took it. Yeah.
It's such a strong, beautiful name. I mean, it's such a good name. And it's so kind of gender neutral. I mean, it's just
yeah, exactly.
a planet, It's
Yep.
fantastic.
And I get to
Love
use the
it.
joke. People say, I say a Mars, and they say like the planet, and I say, it's all right, but Saturn's better. So
It's really great. It's just been a real pleasure to meet you, Mars.
same to you.
Love
Be
to meet your
careful.
sister one of these days. Thank you. Yeah, I will be. I'm lucky too in my life, and I always appreciate people who understand that luck plays a big part in happiness.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Mel, again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mars. Okay, on that high note, we're going to wrap it up for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Happy birthday to all of our birthday people.
Yeah, I'm sorry to everyone I've missed. I will not lose you. I will find you.
We're getting there. We're just about caught up.
Yeah.
That is it for tonight, and we will see you all on Friday.
Yeah. See you on Friday, guys.